everybody. Welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to be taking a look at the NBA trade deadline. Look at some of the moves that happened. Maybe talk about some things that did not happen. And then some general reactions, things like that, to some of these things that have happened. So, here we go. Here's just some of the moves. We have them on the left there. And let's start with the big trade from the 5th, which is the deal which sends Kyrie Irving and Markieff Morris to Dallas in exchange for Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, a 2029 first-round pick, and 2 second-round picks. Now, this is the only trade that's happened where the player has played for that team. Kyrie played for Dallas against the Clippers. It had to be said that Luka was not playing that game, and they got the win. Kyrie put up 24 points. He looked pretty good. A few assists as well, I think. I don't believe Markieff Morris played that game, but I'm not sure. For Dallas, this is an interesting move because Dallas has kind of been in a weird spot. You have Luka, who, top 3, top 5 player in the NBA. He's been getting MVP talk every season. He's obviously a generational talent, and he's still very young, but the Mavericks have really not done a good job trying to put a team around him. Speaking as a Blazers fan, I understand what that's like. They tried the Kristaps thing, that didn't work. They brought in Christian Wood, that's been kind of alright. But the team around Luka this season hasn't been great. Spencer Dinwiddie off the bench, Reggie Bullock hasn't been good, Tim Hardaway Jr. hasn't been good. Dorian Finney-Smith is okay, and I think that's kind of the big piece here for Brooklyn. You get that wing who can play 3-and-D really well, a solid 3-and-D wing. But for Dallas, this is a nice move, and I think this instantly raises their ceiling. Now, they still have defensive issues. Kyrie isn't going to help with that. They still lack some center depth. Well, maybe they got some. I don't know. I haven't seen all the trades yet, but their offensive firepower is sky high right now, and I think that maybe Western Conference Finals, I could see that for them. These two deals on February 7th, I don't have much to say about either of these. San Antonio getting Dwayne Dedmon and a 2028 second-round pick for cash considerations, and Sacramento getting Kessler Edwards and cash considerations for Brooklyn getting the draft rights to David McAnoo. I don't have anything to say about either of those deals. Those are just kind of those random little transactions that happen. Alright, now let's talk about the big February 8th deal. This one blew up the internet yesterday. Got a lot of reactions to this trade all online yesterday. The Los Angeles Lakers get D'Angelo Russell. They get Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt. The Minnesota Timberwolves get Mike Conley, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Juan Toscano Anderson, and Damian Jones, as well as second-round 2026. And a lot of second round picks got moved to this deadline. Like, it seems like teams are kind of valuing second round picks right now. I guess, the amount of decent players that have been picked in the second round lately that have gone on to make an impact. Maybe teams are starting to value those a little bit differently. And then Utah gets Russell Westbrook and a 2027 Lakers first round pick, which is top 4 protected. Now let's start with Minnesota, actually, because I see a lot of people that are kind of questioning like why Minnesota would do this or what they get out of this. Minnesota is way over the cap. Way over the cap. They have no money. And D'Angelo Russell is expiring. So they were not going to be able to sign D'Angelo Russell. And did they let D'Angelo Russell walk? Because of how the NBA cap works, they can't sign anybody with that money that he has if he leaves. That's just the weird way the NBA cap works, right? If you're over the cap and somebody leaves, but you're still not under the cap, you can't sign somebody to that same big contract the person who left was on. So if D'Angelo Russell left, then Minnesota just would have nothing. They would have no player to fill his spot. So for Minnesota it makes sense because they don't allow that spot to just go away. They don't lose a player for nothing. And Mike Conley actually has pretty decent chemistry with Rudy Gobert. They played together in Utah, right? Was it Utah? It had to have been Utah, but Mike Conley and Gobert have decent chemistry together. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has been bounced around the league a little bit at this point. I don't know. I at one point thought that he could be decent, but he's a reclamation project at this point. He's probably not going to really be an impact player in the NBA, but he's a young guard. It's whatever. And then Juan Toscano-Anderson, Damian Jones, those are throw-ins. Utah, the way I see this for Utah, I think Utah wanted to be worse than they have been this season. So they got off of, they had to get rid of some of their impact players. I think, was it Vanderbilt who was in Utah, or was it Beasley? I'm not sure the Utah players were in this deal. But they get Russell Westbrook. Now they are buying him out. And I think the Chicago Bulls and the Los Angeles Clippers are interested in signing him. I feel like he's going to go to the Clippers, personally. I think Utah is taking a gamble with this 2027 pick. Utah has like 3, 4, maybe 5 first-round picks in the 2027 draft after they get this one. Also, I think it's a fair bet to assume that the Lakers will be a bad team in 2027. LeBron won't be there anymore. AD probably won't be there anymore, or if he is, he'll be old and probably dealing with lingering issues with injuries. So I think it's a fair bet for Utah to assume in 2027 the Lakers will be like a bottom 5, bottom 10 team in the NBA. Now for the Lakers, this is a win now move, which I think they're 12th in the West right now, maybe. D'Angelo Russell, personally, I don't really like D'Lo that much. He kind of feels like a lateral move from Russell Westbrook. But Westbrook, they had to get rid of Westbrook. He was having like chemistry issues, locker room issues with the team. There was that thing in the game where LeBron broke the points record where he wouldn't get off the court. Like, there was just issues. He didn't want to accept a smaller role, and then he finally did. But D'Angelo Russell, I feel like that's a lateral move, but I don't know. He's been a Laker before. We'll see. Malik Beasley. He's a good, just pure shooter. I think his numbers are down a little bit this season, but maybe you can revive that a little bit. You have LeBron's gravity, AD's gravity, LeBron passing to him. Maybe Malik Beasley's shooting numbers will go up a little bit. Vanderbilt's an interesting one because he's so young. I think Vanderbilt's only 20 years old. But, you know, he's a good 4. He can play on the floor with AD at the same time. Vanderbilt was actually a guy that Portland was targeting. I was hoping we were going to get him, but then this deal ended up happening and he gets sent through to LA. So I think in the short term, the Lakers win this. I don't really like doing winners losers over this one. I think the Lakers win this short term. Utah might win this long term, depending on what that 2027 pick turns into, and that 2027 draft in general. Like I said, they have 4 or 5 picks in that draft. And Minnesota, I think this is like a little bit of an upgrade. Maybe they'll be a little bit better, but Lakers, I don't know, they could be a play-in team now, maybe an 8 seed, we'll see. So you have the Blazers, we have the Josh Hart trade. Josh Hart was warming up for the game, and then he gets tapped on the shoulder, taken off the floor, and we find out that he's been traded for Cam Reddish, Ryan Arcidiacono, and Svi Mihailuk, and a 2023 first-round pick that is lottery protected. Josh Hart, I was kind of disappointed in this season. I really liked Josh Hart last season. He was coming off the bench, but he's been forced to start at the 3 spot a lot for Portland this season. And like, he's basically been refusing to shoot the 3 all season, and the offense is kind of dying in his hands. Now Josh Hart's a really good rebounder, especially for his size. And maybe if New York can bring him off the bench, and you know, he doesn't have to do as much as he was being asked to do in Portland, he might be better for him. But he just, like I said, he was not shooting any 3-pointers recently, and I don't know, like, I don't hate to see Josh Hart gone. I was expecting him to be traded. For Portland, none of these players are really going to be anything. They already moved Svi in a later deal. Cam Reddish is, you know, a reclamation project at this point. I don't think Cam Reddish is ever going to find a permanent role in the NBA. He's just too streaky. But, I don't know, maybe he's with his length, but I personally don't think he's going to be anything. The first round pick is nice because Portland had their pick sent to Chicago with protections, so they weren't really able to do anything with it or count on that pick. And New York will probably make the playoffs in the East, and I feel like they should not be in the lottery. Okay, let's do this one. So this was kind of a weird trade, this Toronto trade, because all the reporting all season long was about how Toronto was going to be sellers at the deadline. They want to get rid of OG Anunoby. They want to get rid of Pascal Siakam. They want to get rid of Gary Trent Jr. They want 3 picks for OG. They want 2 or 3 picks for Pascal. They want a pick or 2 for Gary Trent. They might want to trade Fred VanVleet. This was everywhere. Toronto was going to be selling. They want to tank. They want to rebuild. And then they trade for Jakob Poeltl in like a win-now move. So Toronto gets Jakob Poeltl from San Antonio for Khem Birch, a 2024 first-round pick which is protected, and 2 future second-round picks. This is just a weird move to me, and I think this is the only move Toronto made. They did not trade OG, they did not trade Pascal, they did not trade Fred, they did not trade Gary. Like, quite sure what. It's just a weird move because Masai is usually so good with his asset management, his player management, his trades. But if you have your players and they read the headlines, they know that you've been trying to trade them all season long. And now you get through the trade deadline and you didn't trade them. Presumably you were trying to but failed. And I don't know, man. It's just weird. It's just weird. I don't really know what Toronto's doing here. San Antonio gets a pick. They get a young player. I think Gembert is a young player. They're rebuilding. Like, makes sense for San Antonio. It's just the destination's weird because I don't think Toronto's in any position to want to compete or anything. Now the Lakers trade was huge. The Kyrie trade was huge. And then like 1 a.m. rolls around and we get the Kevin Durant trade. The Phoenix Suns get Kevin Durant and DJ Warren. The Brooklyn Nets get Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, 4 first-round picks for everyone in 2023, 2025, 2027, 2029, and then a 2028 first-round pick swap. So basically 5 picks. Now for Brooklyn, I actually think Brooklyn navigated trading Kyrie and trading KD very well. They had their big 3. They tried it. And that's a lot of teams don't try it. They tried it. It didn't work. They tried replacing Harden with Simmons. That hasn't worked. Simmons has been a disaster. So like, alright, you know what? Let's set ourselves up for future success. So Brooklyn has lots of young wings. They have like so many young 3-and-D wings right now. Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder are all like athletic shooting wings. And then Dorian Finney-Smith, also a 3-and-D wing. And then all those picks, because they had no picks, they gave up all their picks, right, to get these guys. So I actually like this move for Brooklyn. Now, maybe, I don't think they traded Jay Crowder. Keeping Jay Crowder's a little weird just because of his age. Maybe he'll be bought out, I don't know. Because I don't think maybe Brooklyn's going playoff push right now. But I don't know, it feels like they're trying to set up some sort of long-term building situation here. I actually don't hate what Brooklyn is doing. You know, they were in a tough spot. They were between a rock and a hard place, and I feel like they've kind of navigated it and gotten themselves out of that situation as good as they could. Now, obviously, the big part of this year is KD going to Phoenix. There were rumors last offseason that KD wanted to go to Phoenix. And then those really started up again heavily after the Kyrie trade. Now, I was hoping that Portland would try and make a move for KD. There were rumors that we were heavily pursuing him after the Kyrie trade. I was hoping like Anthony Simons, Shaedon Sharp, Nasir Little, and some picks maybe could have gotten it done. Maybe even Yusuf Nurkic, I don't know, but ultimately KD does go to Phoenix, and man, I'll talk about the Portland trade deadline. That's kind of a doozy. Don't know what we're doing there, but Phoenix now has the second highest odds to win a title. It's like Boston, then Phoenix, but for the betting odds, I don't know. I don't think they're better than Denver. Just because Phoenix has been having issues all season long. Chris Paul's getting old. I don't think they've really addressed that well. Ayton is still kind of, there's still some chemistry issues on the team. And Kevin Durant's a huge piece, obviously. He's a very good player, but I don't know if he completely fixes that team. Some other things here. Okay, yeah, they did move Jay Crowder. That's what I thought they would do. That makes sense. Boston gets Mike Muscala from Oklahoma City for Justin Jackson and 2 second-round picks. I don't really have too much of an opinion on that, but Milwaukee gets Jay Crowder. That makes sense for Milwaukee. 3-and-D wing, can play the 3, can play the 4, he can shoot. That's a win-now move. He's an older player in a team like Milwaukee. Playoff bound, you have Giannis, those guys. I think that's a good move for Milwaukee. Brooklyn gets even more draft capital. They get 2 second-round picks. Yeah, it seems like this Houston Indiana is like a go-between here. They get Jordan Nwora. George Hill is probably going to be bought out. He's old. Doesn't fit the Indiana Pacers timeline. Serge Ibaka, he's old. He's not good. He's probably going to get bought out. But the Pacers get 3 second-round picks. They get some draft capital there. Now this one was interesting because Thomas Bryant actually demanded a trade. He was like very upset about his lack of playing time ever since Anthony Davis came back from injury. Which, like, yeah, it's Anthony Davis. But Denver gets Thomas Bryant. I think Thomas Bryant's a pretty good big. I think he could maybe play a little bit with Jokic, but he'll, 4-5 him and Jokic, but realistically he'll be a bench center, maybe getting like 8 to 10 minutes a game. I don't know how happy he's going to be with that move to Denver, honestly. The Lakers get Devon Reed and 3 second-round picks. I don't know much about him. Now let's get to these 2 Portland trades, because I'm a Portland fan. Let's bring this down a little bit. Okay. I'm just going to talk about these kind of as like one thing here. Philadelphia gets Jalen McDaniels, Portland gets Matisse Thybulle, and Charlotte gets Svi Mykhailiuk. Multiple second-round picks. And then the other trade is Detroit gets James Wiseman from the Warriors. Atlanta gets Saddiq Bey from Detroit. Golden State gets Gary Payton Jr. from Portland, and Portland gets 5 second-round picks and Kevin Knox. I think Kevin Knox was in Detroit as well. Maybe he was in Atlanta or maybe Golden State even. I don't know. Now the Matisse Thybulle bit. We basically got Matisse Thybulle for free. I'm not going to be upset about that. Matisse has absolutely 0 offense. He's like the worst offensive player in the league. His defense is really good, and Portland has been lacking good defense for a while, but I just don't even really know if we're going to be able to play him. He's a reclamation project. Speaking of reclamation projects, Detroit, they're thinking that with Wiseman, they might be able to fix something with him. Saddiq Bey to Atlanta. Saddiq Bey is a weird player to me. I feel like he should be good. He could be good in Atlanta. In Golden State, they get Gary Payton Jr., who I've seen a lot of Blazers fans getting upset about this one. They feel like Gary Payton played us or something, just used us to get money. He was averaging 3.7 points per game. He'd barely played all season long. He was playing limited minutes, and he was 4th on our depth chart because Shaedon Sharpe has elevated himself to a can't-miss player on our team. And Shaedon Sharpe should be getting as many minutes as possible, and Gary Payton was taking away from that. Also, Gary Payton's contract is not great. We were paying him $10 million, I think, for the next 2-3 years, and he has a player option. Now, he was really good in Golden State last season, obviously. So maybe, he'll be good for them, but he just didn't work out here for us. And now Kevin Knox is nothing. He's I've seen a lot of Blazers fans, and I know, like, you guys probably don't care, you're not Blazers fans, but it's my point of reference. Like, upset we didn't make a bigger move, all this stuff. And I've been having these arguments on social media. It's like, with what assets? With what assets? We can't trade our pick this year because of the, like, protections on it. Nobody wants Yusuf Nurkic. And then the only pieces we really have that were worth anything, Josh Hart was worth a little bit, but we got a first-round pick for him. I was not expecting to get a first-round pick for Josh Hart. I was thinking like a second. I'm happy about that return. He hasn't been good. We got a ton of second-round picks. The only players we really have with any value are Anthony Simons and Shaedon Sharpe. They're both young. I think Shaedon Sharpe should be considered untouchable. I think he has, like, superstar potential in this league. Nasir Little maybe has a little bit of value, but Anthony Simons, Nasir Little, in, like, a pick we can't trade. There's no assets to make a big move. And even if Portland did try to make a big move, even if we got KD, even if we did the Phoenix thing, we're not better than Denver, we're not better than Boston, we're not better than Philly, we're not better than Milwaukee, probably not better than Memphis. You know what I'm saying? I actually kind of dig what the Blazers did here, because you have Dame, and that's kind of the whole thing, is like building around Dame in his prime. We tried that. People act like we didn't try that. We tried that. We traded the future, a young player, Gary Trent Jr. in picks for Norman Powell. We brought in Robert Covington. That was supposed to be like our win now move. It didn't work. Robert Covington was bad. Norman Powell wasn't great. We ended up shipping them out. We brought in Jeremy Grant. He's been good, but it's not enough. You know, we had Larry Nance Jr. at one point with those guys. We had, you know, we tried to make win now moves. We did push the chips in. It didn't work. It doesn't always work. That's sports. So now we're doing this thing where we have a young core. Anthony Simons is like 22, 23. Nasir Little's like 20, 21. Shaedon Sharpe's like 20. And we have these young guys. Now we have picks in this year's draft. Our pick might be a lottery pick, hopefully. Get a top 10 pick. Maybe like a top 7, top 6 pick in this year's draft. And then Dame will kind of mature into this like aging vet role. And if Portland ever gets to the point where they're like championship contenders, he'll be more like an Andre Iguodala type instead of a Steph Curry type. That's kind of how I see it. That's kind of what we're building towards. If Portland gets anywhere in the finals, Dame will be Iguodala, he won't be Curry. But that's my Blazers tangent. Some of these other picks, I don't know how big any of these are. The Lakers get Mo Bamba for Patrick Beverley in a second. I think Bamba's actually been pretty decent this season. Add some length, add some center depth, especially with Anthony Davis being injured. And Orlando gets Patrick Beverley, who I think they bought out, I'm not sure. The Clippers get Mason Plumlee from Charlotte for Reggie Jackson in a 2028 second. Now the weird thing though is like Mason Plumlee has been like statistically one of the better centers in the league this season. So I think that's actually a really good move for the Clippers. Especially because here they also bring in Eric Gordon. So just the Clippers are loading up trying to get win now moves. Memphis brings in Luke Kennard, so Memphis gets some shooting there. Luke Kennard some shooting from the guard position. And Houston gets John Wall, Danny Green, and a 2023 first-round pick swap from the Clippers. John Wall back to the Houston Rockets, the place that he has been like consistently trash-talking on podcasts and stuff for weeks now, is actually peak comedy, but John Wall's definitely going to get bought out. I'm not sure where he's going to go. I kind of feel like this might be the last year of his career. I don't know. Maybe he goes back to the Wizards for a reunion or something. The New Orleans Pelicans get Josh Richardson from San Antonio for Devontae Graham and 4 second-round picks. The Oklahoma City Thunder get Dario Saric and a second-round pick from Phoenix in exchange for Darius Bazley. And finally, the Atlanta Hawks get Garrison Matthews and Bruno Fernando from Houston in exchange for Justin Holiday and Frank Kaminsky. So, there was the NBA trade deadline. I didn't have a lot to say about some of those moves. Some of those were just kind of like whatever moves, but I tried to talk about the bigger ones a little bit. Let me know what you guys thought about these moves in the comments down below. What were your opinions on the NBA trade deadline? Your team, did they get better or worse? Did they stay put? Let me know what you thought about some of these deals. If you liked the video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this almost every single day. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.